From 1972 to 2025, let's look at the filming locations for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. And you know I brought action figures along for the journey. It's morphin' time! Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video we're taking a bit of a different turn than we normally do on the channel. We're going to be looking at some filming locations for 1972's Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Now, this is my personal favorite Planet of the Apes movie, and when I had the opportunity to go scope out where they shot the film, I definitely took that chance. And so because of that, I had some really cool stories and things to share. Now, I'm a big film nerd. I know the toy stuff and the comic stuff is also a thing on the channel, but I'm a huge film nerd as well. And so any chance I can get to be at a place where something was filmed, I will take it. And in particular, I sought out the two locations that were the outdoor locations for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Now, there are other Apes movies that you can go film locations for and find the locations of, and that's fun, but I feel like a lot of people have covered the original Planet of the Apes filming locations because it's so iconic. I decided to do this time, I would do Conquest because honestly, I couldn't really find any videos of the locations for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Now, I did not do this alone. This was not research done entirely by myself. A big shout out to Hunter's Planet of the Apes archive, which on that website is a whole page about filming locations. Someone named Lori put together these great PDF documents that have the GPS coordinates and the locations where every Planet of the Apes movie was filmed. And so there's a document for the Conquest locations that I used as my guide to map out where I was going and where I was looking for things. And that was done in 2023. So, you know, it's been a couple years. Let's see if anything's really changed. But specifically in this video, we're going to be going through some of the iconic shots in the film and trying to match them up to the real world locations as they exist today. And so if you enjoy this type of video or just want to help support the channel in general, please hit the like button and subscribe and the notification bell if you haven't already. If you're a first time viewer, because this is kind of a different video than I normally do, there is other Planet of the Apes stuff on the channel, including this video I did talking about the box sets with the Blu-ray releases and DVD releases for Planet of the Apes. And I have some more Apes videos in the works. There's going to be one soon, and it's going to be one for all you toy people as well. So you want to stay tuned to see what's coming up on the channel. Now, some background on the film itself for those that may not have seen it. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes is the fourth movie in the series. It's a direct sequel to the previous film, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and it overall is telling the story of the ape known as Caesar, who leads an ultimate rebellion and revolt of the apes against the humans that have enslaved them. It's a very deep film in terms of its themes and its overall imagery, especially portraying things that were happening in the early 70s and things that sadly still happen to this day. And there's a lot of great symbolic imagery as part of that. The movie itself actually takes place in 1991, so the locations they chose to film at were supposed to reflect kind of a futuristic setting. So where did they film this movie? Well, obviously a lot of it was shot on sound stages in the Fox studios, but there was two locations you can still visit today that they were filming multiple scenes from. The first one is the University of California Irvine campus. This is in Irvine, California. It is a university campus, and there was specific places there that they used to film. One of the reasons why they chose this place was because it was under construction at the time. So there's dirt, there's cranes and stuff, but it worked with the whole theme of the movie. Since this was an ape management school and something recently built, it wasn't quite finished in the narrative of the movie, so therefore it's fine that it was kind of unfinished for when they were shooting on it. That also worked out because there wasn't any schools in session. When I went to visit it, there was classes. It was on a Tuesday afternoon, so there's a lot of shots with a lot of people in them, and it's kind of tricky to navigate around the area because when you see it in the movie, it looks like everything's just kind of like right next to each other, but there's a lot of hills and a lot of large distances between these locations. But I'll try to point out which buildings they're a part of for guidance as we go through this. The other location's a lot easier to get to. It's the Westfield Century City Mall in Century City, California, which is in the heart of Los Angeles, and at the time was attached pretty close to the Fox backlot. So this was a location they could use very easily. It was made to be the city within a city, so everything looks kind of futuristic. A lot of tall high-rises in the middle of the city, which worked with the setting that works for the film. Now, when you're going to look for it now, it can be kind of tricky to find because the mall itself has expanded out into the area, and it's not like there's exactly like a location marker that says they filmed Conquest of the Planet of the Apes here. Now, the thing is, I found the easiest way to find it was to find the Macy's store, because that's like right next to where you're looking for, and outside of the Macy's store is the area where they shot sequences for this movie. It has changed a little bit, and I'll point out some of those differences as we go along. Now, finding both these locations, you can pretty much find them on Google Maps. There's more stuff in the document that was on the Planet of the Apes archive, which is linked in the description down below. Don't remember if I mentioned that before, but there will be a link down there if you're looking for these yourself. Now let's go through the sequences. So between the two locations, the movie bounces back and forth depending on what scenes they needed. There's a good sense of continuity within it. So I thought it'd be kind of fun that we should go through the movie and specifically go through each scene in order and kind of point out where they filmed these, where things are a little bit different than how they were, and other observations I had while actually visiting those locations. So let's take a tour of the filming locations for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. So let's begin where the movie begins, which is in the opening sequence when the apes are coming out to be trained. This is kind of an iconic visual of the film. So a lot of this early scene, of course, was covered by the credits, but it was mostly shot in this courtyard area of the college campus. At the time of filming, of course, there was barely any trees because it had just been under construction, whereas now it's a lot more tree-filled, and it can sometimes be hard to spot the specific architecture that was used in the movie. But unmistakably, if you look at these shots of the apes coming to training, you can see the same exact building is there, that same kind of pyramid shape. It's all exactly where it was, 50 some odd years ago. Now it's interesting, as we move from the courtyard into the School of Humanities area, which is what this building is here with that bridge in the background. And in fact, you can see that the trees have grown from where they were way back when to where they are now, and they've added some extra tables and benches. But those stairs, that building, everything's still the same in the basic premise. So this next scene was shot at the Century City Mall, and it's where Caesar first comes to the city with Armando, and a fight breaks out over an ape being harassed.
Hold it, Phil. Lousy human bastards!
So since this building is supposed to be the civic center of the city, and it's very iconic for later scenes in the movie, you can start to see where some of these locations. These stairs, for example, are still there, even if it's not exactly the same layout. And as you'd expect, the two high-rises next to this area, still there, still in place, still looking pretty much the same as they did before. Also that building in the background. So the next sequence we can use a location for, Caesar is in the Ape Training School with the other apes. And this was shot once again at the University of California campus. So this wide shot here is from an impossible angle to reach unless you have like a crane for your camera. And it's also harder to see nowadays because all the trees have grown up around it. So I had to kind of take this in two sections. This first section here, which is the building to your left, where you can see the extra stairwells and the building architecture. And then the other building across the courtyard on the right-hand side. It's still crazy that the buildings look exactly the same, but the trees obviously have grown up around it. Now we move into a different part of the campus where the library is, and the library was also a site of an iconic shot. So the most iconic shot for the library is this tiled area. It's like a walkway next to the library itself. Still there, still in place, the building's still there, but now there's tables and chairs where people are sitting doing their work. And it's kind of interesting to think that, they are sitting there working on homework, have no idea this movie was filmed there all those years ago. Now, of course, during this scene, Caesar would look into windows and see baby chimpanzees. No baby chimpanzees inside there. That's a library. Now, there's a pretty iconic shot of Caesar and the other apes coming down these stairs, and these stairs are almost everywhere in this campus, in this area. I think it's around the area where the sign is for the School of Humanities, but I could be a little bit off on this, considering there's not actually those banisters which are holding up the bridge. But there's a lot of stairwells in this campus that look like this. It could have been shot anywhere. So next we're going to move over to the Ape Auction, which was shot near the Social Science Tower of the college campus. So in this scene, apes are on display to be auctioned off to the highest bidder, and this was actually interesting to find out where they filmed this.
Male chimpanzee in early prime and perfect physical condition. Take a good look at this specimen, ladies and gentlemen. This has to be the buy of the afternoon.
And as we see it in the movie, there's these stations where the apes are chained to. Well, those are planters for trees, and those trees have grown up since that time. In the balcony where the governor is looking down on the auction, still there and still in place. It's actually kind of amazing how little has changed, all things considered. Now, this was a fascinating location to find. This area here in the auction scene, you can see the dirt mound behind them, all these chairs put out for the auction, and the pedestal that was all added for the movie. But as you can see it as today, there is a whole grassy hill there. There's still seating areas, though they are a little bit different, and everything's still built up, but it's still the same location that we saw all the way back there in that movie. It still looks pretty much the same nowadays, just a little bit more developed. Now, there's an interesting shot in this film of Caesar and the governor in the background on the balcony that's foreshadowing his fate. And what's really cool here is that you can kind of replicate this shot if you have the right materials. In this case, the NECA figure of Caesar that I brought with me. It's not an exact match, but I tried to match it up as close as I could at the time. I wasn't quite sure if I could get up to that balcony or if it was possible, but considering all the shots of him were done from the ground, I thought, yeah, it's good enough to shoot it from here. One of the big credits I want to give to the production design of this movie is that it feels very believable that these two locations that are about an hour and a half drive from each other are actually located in the same area in the movie. And one of the big things of that is that the interior sets are using similar banisters and railings that match the college campus's natural architecture. So it seems like, yeah, you go downstairs and then suddenly you're on the interiors of this building that was built by the same people. It's a really cool detail, and it's just what makes the whole movie work. It's one of those things where you analyze film, you're going to notice things more, but your subconscious has noticed it the whole time, and you just didn't realize it. Now, the next scene where McDonald is leading Caesar through the Civic Center Plaza is actually kind of interesting because there's a lot of physical changes to this location that happened. So as we can see, there's like a two-section stairwell at the time of the movie's filming. Obviously, the Civic Center sign was added for production. But if you fade into nowadays, you may notice that there is a ramped section where the other half of that stairwell was. Yeah, they had to add a ramp because everything else is stairs to get around this. So it's very interesting to see how they kind of took half that stairwell and put a ramp in instead, but the stairs are still there. Another thing I noticed while looking over clips of the movie is that there is a stairwell that is kind of a transition point between exterior shots and interior shots. They come in and out of the stairwell to the underground area for ape management. The interesting part about this is that that stairwell seemingly does not exist anymore. I haven't been able to find it when I was there, and it seems like there's a grassy hill where it once was, which means whatever was down there, no longer accessible to the general public. So the next scene we're looking at here is when Caesar runs away at nighttime. He's going through the Civic Center Plaza again, and you can see that while things have slightly changed, it is mostly the same as to what was there once before. Now, one thing is an interesting continuity note. In the movie, there's a shot of Caesar running across the bridge and one of the guards chasing him, and then they come onto the other side of the bridge and Caesar sneaks under the stairwell. So two things to note. First of all, the stairwell itself has changed significantly, and there's no under section to hide under anymore, so we couldn't recreate that shot, even though that would have been kind of fun. The other thing to note is it makes it look like they went all the way across the bridge. Well, if you actually go across that bridge in real life, you'll notice that it actually is a completely different area on the other side. Yeah, they basically shot the two actors running across the bridge and then running back across the bridge the other way, and it's just cut with a couple things in between to make it look like they went entirely over the bridge. But no, they're still filming in the same location. They just went up over the bridge to the point where you couldn't see them. So now we move into the big sequence of the movie, the Ape Riot, the big set piece of the film. This is a huge monumental sequence. It goes through a lot of things, and a lot of it is shot at night. So I'm going to be pulling out specific shots from this sequence to highlight their real-world counterparts. So first things first, the bridge is still there. The railings look very similar, but they are a little bit different, but the overall concrete of the bridge is there. It goes over a highway, and that allows it to connect one side of this city to the other. And it's actually a pretty active bridge. Getting a shot with very few people in it, really, really hard. The interesting part to note too is that the entrance to the bridge was a direct line back in 1972. Now it has a bit of a curve because the area next to it has been developed as the Macy's store is expanded out. But we did our best here to take a shot of Caesar and the gorillas coming across the bridge to face off against ape management. Now, something interesting to note, this, I believe, is the location where all the apes are coming down the stairs, which the stairs had a railing in the middle of it. But if you look at the current day photos, the actual stairs are not as steep and there's not as many of them, as it seems they've kind of lowered the distance a bit, which seemed to be part of the overall remodeling of this front area. In fact, one of the biggest ways to show this is that this area here where you can see the bridge in the back, you have the big slidey hill and all the stairs where the apes are coming in, it is still there. It's all grass now, and it all seems to be a little bit flattened out from what it once was, and the grass was planted. It definitely was an addition to add some greenery to the area.
And the land is a wasteland, out of which I will lead my people from their captivity, and we shall build our own cities in which there will be no place for humans except to serve our ends.
And now we come down to the big climactic moment of the movie, which is Caesar's big speech. This is iconic. I could have found this location from memory if I needed to. The background shot is what was used as the Civic Center building, which is the building right across from the mall in this area. So as you can see, I naturally found a spot to put Caesar in order to replicate the shot as close as possible. Now, something interesting to note is that it seems like Roddy McDowall was up on a banister that doesn't exist anymore. When they redeveloped that hill to not only include the ramp, but also the grassy area, the banister that he would have stood on to get him up on a nice high level doesn't seem to exist anymore. And I discovered this particularly when I tried to recreate the shot for myself. I had to just kind of get close because I couldn't get further enough out into that hill area because there was nothing to stand on out there. And as you can see, if we pull back a bit, there is a lower banister. There's nothing up as high as what he was once on because that whole area is now grass. Now, of course, with this speech being such an iconic part of the movie, I did take several shots here. I thought this one in particular turned out pretty good because it does make Caesar look as large as he is in the movie. It's not an exact match, but it's kind of getting the spirit of it, and that's kind of what I was going for here. This is probably the closest match of the angle. This is the, kind of a near enough banister. It was really tricky to find the exact angle because I did realize the ground below it had been redeveloped. And also adding to that, when they have Governor Breck on the ground and the guerrillas are surrounding him, I couldn't figure out where this was shot. The shot itself is so crowded, it's like I have no visual reference. He's just laying on stairs. That being said, if you want to find where the final shot of the movie is, totally doable. These three buildings still exist. The building that's on fire was added as a matte painting with effects in the original movie, so it never existed, but there you go. That is the full tour of the Conquest filming locations of the best I could find.
And we shall found our own armies, our own religion, our own dynasty, and that day is upon you now!
So I hope you enjoyed that tour of these filming locations, kind of seeing like where it looks now versus where it was when they filmed the movie. This is the kind of stuff that I find fascinating, and if I ever have a chance to do something like this again, I totally would. It's really cool to kind of go and seek out where they film things and how things can be a little bit different. Like that mall area really has developed in an interesting way to where some of the stuff that was there back when they filmed the movie is still there exactly as it was, and some of it's completely different. And that's kind of fascinating, at least for me. If you did enjoy this, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know some feedback. I've never done a filming locations video before. This is kind of a reach out, see if I could do something like this, and I hope you did enjoy it. And if you hadn't hit the like button and subscribe and the notification bell, please do so now because it really, really helps the channel, really helps the video. And share it with your apes friends. If you're new to the channel and you're like, I found this, share it with other people, please. I'd love more people to see this. We have a Discord community you can join in the link below. You can also join as a channel member to get perks like early access to videos and member-exclusive live streams and more. Let's give some special shout-outs to our channel members. Special shout out to our channel members, including Captain Tier, Spin-54, Masterbin95, Forever1000, Super Shaddix Boom, Mr. Smelly Potato, Starhu, Gabriel Saez, Luffy D Monkey, Joy-Con Girl, Mass Fuego, Onio Nichan, Dr. Grid, RC Scorchcore, Crestfallen Thoughts at Midnight, Paul Miller, Colby Massengale, Aggressively Relaxing, Michael, Kaiji1954, B-Min, Professional Troll Taylor, Jeffrey Piemonte, Lacey Dean, Ben Nguyen, Mr. Airverse 16, Jamie's World, Cineroth, The Clueless Collector, Z-Man 12 Bat, Isabella Lawrence, Geets, TRPCDRD, Omega Saiyan, Kakiku Kaku, Gang 1, and Ben Odinson. Thank you everybody for your support. If you so wish, I'm also on social media on Blue Sky and, of course, our Discord server. You can find my wonderful graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643, and you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for interviews, news, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.